evening. On behalf of the faculty and staff of Charles F. Brush High School, welcome to the 2019 National Honor Society Induction Ceremony. I'd like to take the time to welcome our new inductees as they take their oath within the prestigious National Honor Society of Charles F. Brush High School. For the family and friends in the audience, I know you are proud to see your child's many successes throughout their young lives, as this is just one of many more to follow. To our new inductees, I thank you for your commitment to excellence and overall hard work. I wish you well in your endeavors as you are now viewed as a leader throughout not only our school, our district, and our local communities. At this time, I'd like to welcome Mrs. Bram to the stage. Thank you.
Good evening. In 1921, the National Association of Secondary School Principals officially established the National Honor Society. Though many local and regional honor societies existed prior to 1921, no nationwide organization had been founded. Under the leadership of Dr. Edward Reinerson, principal of Fifth Avenue High School in Pittsburgh, the organization grew from the original Alpha chapter to more than 1,000 chapters in just 9 years. Today, there are chapters in all 50 states, the District of Columbia, Puerto Rico, and Canada. According to the national organization's goals, NHS hopes to recognize and encourage academic achievement while developing other characteristics essential to citizens in a democracy. Our Constitution outlines 4 main purposes, which have guided chapters of NHS from the beginning: to create enthusiasm for scholarship, to stimulate a desire to render service, to promote leadership, and to develop character in the students of secondary schools. These purposes translate into the criteria used for membership selection in each local chapter. Tonight, we are pleased to welcome 21 young people who have met these criteria. They are a tribute to Brush High School and to you, the parents, teachers, counselors, and administrators who have guided them on their journey toward excellence. I would now like to introduce NHS President Sloan Bokubza.
When our current senior class got inducted last year, we were 9. It is an honor this year to welcome a total of 21 new members into National Honor Society. NHS is comprised of 4 pillars: scholarship, leadership, character, and service. It is with these 4 qualities in mind that the scholars before you have been chosen to be inducted tonight. Now, to further explain scholarship, I would like to welcome Vice President Amber C.
The inductees behind me have all achieved a grade point average of 3.5, but even more importantly, they embody a commitment to learning. The pursuit of knowledge doesn't end at the classroom doors. The Brush NHS inductees have learned that knowledge can be acquired only through diligence and effort. Learning furnishes the lamp by which we read the past and the light that illuminates the future. Candidates have the charge to continually expand their world through the opportunities inherent in scholarship. Now, Nick Anderson, our secretary, will present leadership.
Brush High School exert a wholesome influence on the school. In taking the initiative in class and in-school activities, the real leader strives to train and aid others to attain the same objective. The price of leadership is sacrifice, the willingness to yield one's personal interests for the interests of others. A leader has self-confidence and will go forward when others hesitate. No matter what power and resources may exist in a country or a school, they're ineffectual without the guidance of a wise leader. Leadership is always needed. Thus, to lead is a substantive charge to each of our members. Noah Turoff will now present character.
Character is the force within each individual which distinguishes that person from others. It gives each of us our individuality. But when we talk about character for the students of National Honor Society, the word means so much more than that. Implicit in the term is the ethical or moral nature of an individual, that product of constant action, striving daily to make the right choices. We must be, then, in reality, what we wish to appear to others. By demonstrating such qualities as respect, responsibility, trustworthiness, fairness, caring, and citizenship, we may hope to prove by example that we value character. Suyi Chen, parliamentarian, will now present service.
Service can be described in various ways. In the routine of today's work, many opportunities arise to help others. Willingness to work for the benefit of those in need without monetary compassion or recognition is the quality that we seek for in our membership. We are committed to the idea of volunteering our time and our abilities to the creation of a better tomorrow.
It's my pleasure to introduce our guest speaker tonight. Since 2009, Sally Martin has served as the housing director for the City of South Euclid, managing residential code and enforcement and overseeing the daily operations of the housing department. As director, she launched the grant-funded South Euclid Green Neighborhoods Initiative, winning a Cranes Emerald Award for that project. Ms. Martin also helped establish the city's affiliate Community Development Corporation, One South Euclid, creating the Build, Grow, Thrive residential resale program. Thanks to Ms. Martin's initiatives and collaborations with private developers through One South Euclid, the city has seen over $60 million in residential revitalization since 2010. Known as a subject matter expert on housing-related issues, Martin is a regular speaker at local, state, and national conferences and has co-authored papers and studies on housing policy issues. She serves on the boards of several regional housing organizations. Currently, she is the chair of the executive committee for the Greater Cleveland Reinvestment Coalition. In the summer of 2015, she launched the SEL Experience Project blog and social media initiative to help shift regional and community perceptions of the South Euclid Lyndhurst schools. The project has featured numerous successful Brush alumni who are making a difference in their universities, workplaces, and communities. We look forward to seeing many of you on that blog in the coming years. Martin has a bachelor's degree of science from the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications and has resided with her family in South Euclid since 2001. Please welcome Ms. Martin to the stage.
Thank you for having me here tonight. It is a true pleasure to have the opportunity to meet the best and the brightest of our school district. One of the most surprising things that has come out of spending the last 4 years interviewing alumni and sharing stories on the SEL Experience Project blog has been the almost uncanny way that the Brush grads we interviewed, almost without exception, have chosen professions where they can help others and level the playing field. Whether they become doctors, lawyers, artists, or teachers, they often choose to serve the disadvantaged, the disenfranchised, the ones who need the most help in our increasingly divided society. Often they tell us that attending a diverse school system made them want to use their skills to make the world more united, fair, and equitable. They felt that SEL helped shape their worldview and made them better equipped to function in a wider world. The examples are inspiring. Dr. Melanie Ferrara Finkenbinder, a primary care physician who works in an underserved Latino community in Columbus, helped create a free grocery store to provide her patients who live in a food desert with a reliable supply of fresh produce. Ari Daniel Shapiro brings issues of climate change to national audiences as a science reporter for Public Radio International. Adina Pliskin is breaking the glass ceiling of Hollywood through her work as a Latino documentary filmmaker and producer. Getting to the place of writing the blog came from some hard-won wisdom. Like many white middle-class parents, my husband and I were warned by well-meaning friends that we shouldn't use the schools in South Euclid. According to them, SEL schools just weren't good enough for our children. Since it was part of the family tradition anyway, we dutifully put our kids in Catholic school. When our son Chris was in 8th grade, he announced that he was done with private school and wanted to attend Brush. Given that this kid was about the most stubborn child ever born, we relented. Much to our surprise, Chris thrived at Brush, got an excellent education, and especially enjoyed the incredible art education he received from Miss Connor and Miss Curry. In 2018, he graduated from the School of the Art Institute of Chicago, where he continues to live and work in the art field. When I became the housing director for South Euclid in 2008, I saw how the lack of confidence in our schools was causing a reduction in our housing prices. Realtors frequently mentioned concerns about the schools and school rankings, which we know never tell the whole story. Those had been dropping. When Brush grad Beth Fry became my intern one summer, we realized that we both had grave concerns about what was happening as white families left the district. The once balanced diversity that was the hallmark of SEL was rapidly shifting. In less than 12 years, the district went from being 80% white to 80% black, a particularly strange phenomenon since we weren't seeing the same level of white flight in the populations of the two cities the district serves. Both South Euclid and Lyndhurst are still majority white communities. Sadly, this isn't a unique problem. According to award-winning journalist Nicole Hannah-Jones, who points out in her recent New York Times article entitled "It Was Never About Busing," we have made little progress since the Supreme Court passed Brown versus the Board of Education. She reminds us that 65 years later, black students are as segregated from white students as they were in the mid-70s. As our best and brightest, you have a special charge. You are called to be the change. My generation has failed. Our society is divided like never before. When a school district has resegregated, it should serve as a warning sign that our society has run off course. We look to you as our future leaders to change this firmly entrenched pattern of fear and separation. The noted author and psychiatrist Elizabeth Kubler-Ross said there are only two emotions from which all other emotions arise: fear and love. If you don't actively choose love, you will find yourself in a place of fear. Every moment offers the choice to choose one or the other. As we can see from what's happening in Washington, our society at large has chosen fear. Your generation must change that. Last Friday, I had the privilege to speak to a sold-out crowd at the City Club about the challenges of entering suburbs, which was also being live-streamed on WCPN. No pressure there. The subject of schools came up, and I told the story of the blog and my family's positive experiences with SEL schools. After the presentation, I was mobbed by people who praised me for having the courage to discuss race. They said no one talks about that stuff. That's precisely the problem. It's the elephant in the room, and it's time we called it out. One of my favorite poets, the late songwriter Leonard Cohen, wrote a song entitled Anthem that contains the following lyrics: "Ring the bells that still can ring. Forget your perfect offering. There's a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in." It's time to let the light in and speak our truth. When I let go of my fear and decided to start talking about this, I found that it resonated with so many people and allowed them to step out of their fear too. When you're old enough to vote, make sure you do. Urge the adults in your household to vote at every election. This is critical. It matters. Never be afraid to speak the truth to power. Keep showing up and speak your truth. We are proud of you. We are depending on you, and I can't wait to see what you accomplish.
I pledge myself to uphold the high purpose of the National Honor Society, to which I have been selected, to build strong character in myself and others, to advance scholarship, to provide leadership, and to serve my school, my community, and my country. In the interest of humanity. Inductees, please remain standing and come forward to receive your pin when you hear your name called. Calum Adams. Lily Al-Sheikdaha. Ayana Buckner. Jessica Camandillo. Dylan DeCenzi. Nathan Ekman. Gianni Fitch. Rhea Fitch. Arthur Franklin. Haley Hacker. Naya Johnson. Haley Jones. Alexia Kumar. Isabel Lashley. Sean Pierce. Jaslyn Rosier. Gwyneth Seddon. Darian Smith. Devin Suttles. Carla Wagner. And Alyssa Wiegand. I'd like to thank our principal, Mr. Williamson, our guest speaker, Ms. Sally Martin, and advisors, Mrs. Bram and Mrs. Stranick, for their hard work in organizing this year's induction ceremony. Please join me in thanking them with a round of applause. At this time, I would also like to recognize Keenan Barn, who is in the first row, who transferred here and is also a member of National Honor Society. Thank you all for attending our National Honor Society induction ceremony. In just a moment, the new inductees will recess, after which you are all invited to join us in the library for a reception in their honor. Before doing so, please join me once again in applauding all of our new Honor Society members. Thank you. And now, will everyone please stand as our newest members of National Honor Society recess.